Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being. Welcome to Universal Peace Radio. So, at the moment, they're making me feel very tired. I also walk the stairs, and so they're still attacking me with the cancer harp in Parker Flats, Alaska. And basically, they've been attacking my brainstem, dissolving my brainstem, and basically, they turn masturbation into a horror, into torture, basically. So I hope some single woman visits me soon to prove to the world I'm not a pedophile. So come on, single women, contact me via Skype, and you can shiatsu. You're also welcome to drink something. We don't have to shiatsu or have sex. And I don't touch people without their permission. I'm a man of honor, man of my word. Ulrich B.C. Hoffman. Peace to all the chicks that made love with me and all the peace and rest of the population. Okay. Oh yeah, there was interesting news. 2 titles in red, so that's not something I've clicked on, it's just information Alex Jones may consider important. So let's read it out. I can keep the speech engine in the background. I don't know if it's understandable enough. I know it's better to have it direct, but then the microphone starts feedbacking if I do this and it's switching all the time, etc. So I can get a solution for that.
Obama to give jihadists the ability to order airstrikes. Mikhail Palin rebels who pledged allegiance to ISIS to control American bombers in Syria. 2787. Obama refuses to call it Islamic terrorism. Paul Joseph Watson and Alex Obama to give jihadists the ability to order airstrikes. Mikhail Palin rebels who pledged allegiance to ISIS to control American bombers in Syria. 2787 comments. Why Obama refuses to call it Islamic terrorism. Paul Joseph Watson and Alex Jones. Federal government has ignored Islamic threat while obsessing about domestic extremism for years. 112 comments. Mentally ill man waves broom, cops shoot him dead and cuff him. Steve Watson mother called police out to help her son, then they killed him. 169 comments. A mother in Miami Gardens called police, asking them to help her calm her mentally disturbed son. But when the cops showed up, the man, 25, waved a broom at them, so they shot him multiple times, killing him.
A man in Miami Gardens. Officers say they had no choice.
The mother, Catherine Daniels Brown, told reporters that she called the police at 5 a.m. Sunday, saying my son has got a mental problem. Please send somebody here to help him. According to reports, when the police arrived at the scene, Lavelle Hall, who was schizophrenic, refused to comply with police orders and ran off. The cops followed, attempting to use tasers to stop Hall. A police statement notes that Hall was holding an object that he used against them as a weapon. While the statement did not give any detail on what the object was, witnesses say it was a broom. You tell them that the child is mentally challenged, and then all of a sudden you run out to him. You know he doesn't have a gun. He had a broom, a red broom with straws. Old, red broom. Said the man's mother. If I knew they were going to kill my child, I would have never, ever called them, she added. He has a mental problem, and when I went around the corner to help my child, all the police had to do was take my child because he got a mental problem. They killed my child. took my child away from me.
So I'm back. I think you can always wind fast forward to part in the recording you like. And in the case of the broom, basically, and in the case of the stone thrower, I didn't see any stone in his hand, basically. Anyway, if there are multiple police officers, then I think they may not shoot the person other than in the leg, basically, if absolutely necessary. I think they may not shoot to kill when they have a broom or a stone when there are multiple police officers. Because here it's not a gun, etc. And I think it's behavior of the police officer should be punished somehow. Perhaps a day in jail or whatever, I don't know. To make it so that it's not done by police officers, that they shoot him in the leg if really necessary. But two of these cases recently on InfoWars makes me say this, basically. And perhaps I'll be a judge one day, so I better watch out.
While Obama refuses to call it Islamic terrorism, federal government has ignored Islamic threat while obsessing about domestic extremism for years.
So we have to stay proactive to it, not reactive to it, basically. And it is death or Satan or whatever. And so we should seek orgone, life force, energy, and breathing technique, yoga, head will exercise. Forget about our differences. I mean, it's obvious they can torture me. I can do anything. Almost no followers. Of course, I could get a lot of people following me, etc. But I don't know if that would be a good idea.
The Obama administration's refusal to use the term Islamic terrorism has provoked widespread condemnation, but it fits perfectly with the federal government's past approach to the war on terror, which has been to elevate the importance of domestic extremism over the threat posed by Islamic terror. In planning this week's summit on combating violent extremists, the White House has consistently avoided naming Islamic extremism as its central focus, reports CNN, despite two deadly attacks carried out in the name of Islam in Paris and Copenhagen in just
2 months alone. While Obama refuses to call it Islamic terrorism, federal government has ignored Islamic threat while obsessing about domestic extremism for years. This is nuts. Although the Islamic State, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram and the Taliban cite Islam, the New York Post's Michael Goodwin sums up the controversy, noting that even liberal media outlets are comfortable with referring to Islamic terrorism on a routine basis. This is nuts. Although the Islamic State, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram and the Taliban cite Islam as the basis of their death cults, Obama argues that their acts are contrary to Islam, and therefore, refuses to associate them with Islam, writes Goodwin. Concerns about not referring to religion in the context of terrorism were not shared by the Pope, who condemned the beheading of 21 Coptic Christians in Egypt by ISIS by remarking, "They were killed simply for the fact that they were Christians." In contrast, a 192-word statement from White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest about the killings was completely absent the words Christian, Coptic, Islam or Muslim. The Obama administration's refusal to use the term Islamic terrorism has provoked widespread condemnation, but it fits perfectly with the federal government's past approach to the war on terror, which has been to elevate the importance of domestic extremism over the threat posed by Islamic terror. In planning this week's summit on combating violent extremists, the White House has consistently avoided naming Islamic extremism as its central focus, reports CNN, despite 2 deadly attacks carried out in the name of Islam in Paris and Copenhagen in just the last 2 months alone.
So at the moment, I'm wondering if there have been any Islamic attacks anywhere. I heard Charlie Hebdo is still alive, but they killed others, basically, and I doubt if it was done by Muslims or whatever. So I can Google it. Islamic attacks.
U.S. attacks on Muslims abroad is not a war on Islam, Obama, RT. 48 minutes ago, Muslim Americans across our country are worried and afraid. President Barack Obama.
Well, of course, you have terrorist organizations, and I think they're trying to target the terrorist organizations, basically.
Egypt bombs Islamic State targets in Libya after 21 Egyptians beheaded. Reuters. 2 days ago, Putin points Muslim-ired Cold War foes as jihadists threaten. Bloomberg. 22 hours ago, more news for Islamic attacks.
Blocking the tab, Google Plus Hangout tab. Wonder if the mic is working during this. Still blocking it. Still blocking the thing. Okay. Oh yeah, I was going to desktop sharing. Whatever.
Bloomberg, hundreds of thousands of Muslims vented their anger in unison, shouting Allahu Akbar, as their leader condemned supporters of the satirical French magazine Charlie Hebdo after militants murdered 5 of its cartoonists. The protest against caricatures of Muhammad and the policies of the U.S. and its allies was organized by the state and televised live across the country for more than an hour, but it wasn't in Iran or Pakistan. It was in Russia, where Vladimir Putin came to power vowing to wipe out Muslim extremists, even in the outhouse. "15 years on, Putin is now seeking to turn Muslim anger to his advantage by pushing for a united front against what he sees as a US-led conspiracy to dominate the world. Putin is also trying to neutralize the threat posed by the return of Russian jihadists currently fighting for the Islamic State in Syria and Iraq, a task complicated by his growing isolation over the war in Ukraine, officials and analysts in Moscow say. The protest was an attempt to meld Muslim opinions with Russian-wide views about the Western world, a lever to unite the population around Putin, said Alexei Malyshenko, a Middle East analyst at the Moscow Carnegie Center. Vladimir Putin came to power vowing to wipe out Muslim extremists, even in the outhouse. Bloomberg.com.
I don't really remember what I was going to Google.
Another Jew fraud 6 minutes ago. Hey, listen up, people. This is unbelievable, man. The big thing is Revolt. Something you won't find among the stupid blogs here. Something they are trying to hide, for now. Some confidential info are leaked about what these Zionist bastards are preparing to do in the near future. And this fat, barking bitch Alex Jones or whatever is his name is just one of their players, paid to bark in empty. I just want to inform you about what I got and please share this so as many people as possible could know for this Jew fraud. Elvis Presley is coming back, folks, says Akon. Yeah, it sounds funny, lol. I can't stop laughing either. They are preparing Elvis's big comeback, except it will be some gay with a plastic makeup, fake eye. It is something that's supposed to be global manipulation. This project has been total secret for more than 15 years. Big money is behind all this. So many people from Hollywood, many secret societies, even government and everything is financed by Zionist bankers. This whole story about financial crisis in US and worldwide is made because of this plan. This is second part that comes after crises, tells they need money to pay all these people involved in this conspiracy. One more interesting data FOR Union Believers, they have cloning programs since 1995. FOR humans BTW, and that is just a little part of this story. People are ships. They will eat all what is nice served on. Anyway, let's wait and see that return of the king, folks. I recommend, if this whole shit is true, kicking some asses.
Wow. I think it sounds a bit weird.
Can you handle the truth 5 minutes ago? Can you handle the truth about Islam? http://pastopen.com/ DZ5VBLVH.
I can handle it.
Islam is jihad and jihad is Islam. It is the very core of it. 60% of the combined trilogy, Sirah Quran Hadiths, are dedicated to Kafirs. 31% of the combined trilogy, Sirah Quran Hadiths, are dedicated to jihad. That makes the vast majority of the Muslim writings about Kafirs and what to do with them. Allah hates Kafirs. Jihad is Islam. This is the whole purpose of Islam, the eradication of Christianity and conversion or killing or lucky, jizya of all other Kafirs as well, secularists, Buddhists, and Hindu. It has done nothing else than gone on a rampage, conquering, enslaving, brutally murdering and so on for 12 to 1400 years. since its inception, and is only on a break from this because the caliphate was dismantled in 1923. This thing called jihad is not a result of Western influence in the Middle East. It is at the very core of Islam to behave this way. There are no moderate Muslims. There are only those who leave the Muslim faith and risk their lives doing so, and those who follow it. Reply share. Paul Watson is still a tool 5 minutes ago, so you're saying there are Islamic terrorists, even though all Islamic terrorist acts are false flags? Come on, at last try and keep your bullshit consistent.
I think that's a pretty good point. It's a bit like my idea. Basically, WTC was done by the Jesuits, according to sources online. And I gave that list of false flag attacks that they've done. So they had terror drills at the same moment, same place, etc. So there's problem, reaction, solution, and they might do it again. I mean, people can't do anything about it, can they?
Raz 28 minutes ago, he is obviously aligned with the author of Confusion. There is no doubt in my mind. One reply share. Last chance 29 minutes ago. I hope you all have your tinfoil hats on. Reply share. Raz last chance 25 minutes ago. Where do you find tinfoil? All I can find is aluminum foil.
Good point. You can also put it on the wall and ground it, and you block out the counter cell phone radiation. But the scalar waves go through there, so their synthetic telepathy, etc. continues. Plus, the cancer cell phone radiation is used to depopulate, so I think they see it as a countermeasure, and then might do other shit, ringing in the head and other irritating things. But at least you're protected against cancer cell phone radiation. But with HAARP, they can do things that are 10 times worse, so it's everybody's own choice what they do with the information. You can easily test the aluminum foil yourselves with an HF radiation meter and then see that it blocks cancer UMTS radiation with a factor 300 and cancer GSM with a factor 100. And also put it on cancer Wi-Fi, local cancer area networks, etc. So I think the depopulation is illegal, so the people with the cancer HAARP are terrorists and they are at fault. And I hope they are arrested or killed. And that they take over and create a utopian timeline instead of a depopulation timeline, world war timeline, or Ebola viral timeline. In which everybody is injected at gunpoint with some killer vaccine. By the military to create a military state, so that would be for phase 4 of ideological subversion, active measures. Normalization is when the tanks roll in. And the other phases, phase 1 is demoralization, phase 2 destabilization, phase 3 crisis, phase 4 normalization is when tanks roll in, and we need to apply reversed active measures if we want to prevent being eliminated by a bunch of bank Stasi, Illuminati, or whatever. Okay. Islamic terrorism, we can search on that. How do we know this is not CIA? Plus, I don't want to see them obliterating themselves. So we see these pictures of people strapped with dynamite and kids with whatever, dynamite or explosives. Or perhaps bottles of glue wine or straw rum. Jesus juice. Anyway, let's see. So I don't see any real Islamic terrorism. It's a really big machine gun. So I think terrorists usually work with bombs. Also other weapons, perhaps.
Victimization of terrorists. Kursnad Malshikam 468-86 search by image. Friendly terrorist source. http://www.european-freedom.
Oh, it's an idea is that they're victims basically if they don't pretend they believe in Allah instead, and they're tortured by their own people basically. So what choice do they have, you know? Being stoned to death or pretending they believe and stuff. Whatever. And pretending that they're not pretending, of course.
Immigration, victimization of terrorists. August 22nd, 2013. Rachel Molshy 0 comments. Friendly terrorist? Source. http://www.european-freedom-initiative.org. Members of Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, Hamas, Hezbollah, Boko Haram victims? Thinking in those terms, no one would dare to make such a bold statement. But in recent years, whenever a terror attack has occurred in the West, the media has rushed to get to know the perpetrators, digging into family history and inventing far-reaching explanations as to why these poor mass murderers committed their crimes. It seems anything is better than telling the public the cold hard truth that the terrorists themselves wanted us to know. The motive was jihad. Allahu Akbar.
So if they're not tortured to death with herbs, they're not getting cancer, no remotely controlled centipedes in their body, teeth are not tortured out of their mouth, why should I see them as victims? When they are the head cutters or whatever. I mean, that there are fake beheadings online doesn't mean that there are no real beheadings online either. Yes, there are.
Compassion is a good thing, whether it is for the collective group or for the individual. However, this compassion should be within reason and have limits. In Western society today, compassion is too often misguided. A new phenomenon we are experiencing now is the victimization of terrorists. Victimization. Mein FEMA Kampf, Mein Computer, Guantanamo Obama. Flying a single-engine plane without a parachute. Nutty. Flying any plane without a parachute. Why? Nuts. They're all nuts, okay? Perfect emotion control. We are in control of what we are in control of. The injecting of danger. Do you want to be a slave of the beast computers until you die, or should you switch it off? It's making the world's population eternal, not depopulating. If you want to survive this, everybody could be a Joker.
So I think Breivik was nuts that he knew what he was doing. Obama? I think it's someone else. Gee. This is no cartoon anymore.
Islamic terrorists and Mexican drug gangs have teamed up to. The Muslim issue WordPress com 485.323 search by image. With cartels has allowed the Shia Islamic militant group to have a growing presence in the U.S., says Matthew Levitt, an esteemed
It's pretty
terrorist
disturbing,
expert.
so perhaps you should watch away. Stick your fingers in your ears, whatever. When I'm on. Thank you. I want to blow up the picture.
Mexican cartels help Hezbollah infiltrate U.S. Judicial Watch. In a shocking revelation made by a veteran U.S. counterterrorism expert, Hezbollah has infiltrated the southwest United States by joining forces with Mexican drug cartels that have long operated in the region. Judicial Watch has for years reported on the chilling connection between Islamic extremists and Mexican drug cartels. In fact, as far back as 2007, JW wrote about an astounding Drug Enforcement Agency, DEA, report that lays out how Islamic terrorists and Mexican drug gangs have teamed up to successfully penetrate the U.S. as well as finance terror networks in the Middle East.
I wonder why they did it to this poor guy.
In Hezbollah's case, a growing business relationship with cartels has allowed the Shia Islamic militant group to have a growing presence in the U.S., says Matthew Levitt, an esteemed terrorism expert with an impressive resume. Levitt is a former counterterrorism intelligence analyst at the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and State Department counterterrorism advisor. He also served as a number 2 intelligence official at the U.S. Treasury, where he operated the agency's terrorism and financial intelligence branch. Levitt offers details of this mind-boggling collaboration between 2 powerful criminal enterprises in a new book titled Hezbollah, The Global Footprint of Lebanon's Party of God. A non-profit dedicated to exposing the dangers of Islamic extremism, the Clarion Project profiled the book in a recent article titled Growing Hezbollah Presence in Southwest U.S. Hezbollah's business relationship with Mexican drug cartels is a driving force behind this phenomenon, according to the analysis that quotes alarming excerpts from the book. For instance, in 2009, a former chief of operations for the DEA said that Hezbollah uses the same criminal weapons smugglers, document traffickers, and transportation experts as the drug cartels. A year later, a man,
I
Jamal
don't choose
Youssef,
sides. I don't
arrested
even
in
know
New
what
York,
sides
admitted
are.
stealing weapons from Iraq
I
for
don't
Hezbollah
compare
and
to
told
any
authorities
religion.
of the Hezbollah stockpile in Mexico that included 100
Well, I know.
M16 assault rifles, 100 AR-15 rifles, 2,500 hand grenades, C4 explosives and anti-tank weapons. That same year, a Hezbollah terrorist was captured in Tijuana and a senior Mexican military officer confirmed the group was conducting explosives training for members of Mexican drug cartels.
Looking for the Arnica on the computer. Arnica must be somewhere. The question is where did I put the Arnica? Bed of hidden Arnica. Make silence in broadcast. Yeah. Georgia Guidestones. Instead of Georgia Guidestones, Georgia Guidestones.
Georgia Kidstones. Why is DNA permissible in court while anyone can plant some DNA of someone they do not like at the crime scene and wear gloves, and why is film material not permissible while it is rather easy to prove whether the film was really made by the security camera and not doctored with? Because your government is terroristic, they are dissolving my spine with herb while I write this. They do not want to be filmed depopulating the earth. Implanting DNA may just work. Fingerprints can be faked as well. Because most people do not want a new world order, there is none. No global government because they'd be bombed immediately. No centralization, polarization, depopulation. Fucked. In the US, law enforcement officials across the nation's southwest region reporterize and imprison gang members with Farsi tattoos that experts say express loyalty to Hezbollah, the book analysis reveals. One US law enforcement official is quoted as saying this: "You could almost pick your city and you would probably have a Hezbollah presence." This is not surprising considering that for years a number of reports have exposed the connection between Mexico and Middle Eastern terrorists. In 2010, a veteran federal agent in the U.S. immigration system exposed a government cover-up of Middle Eastern terrorists entering the country through Mexico. The 30-year agent confirmed that thousands of SIAs, special interest aliens, from terrorist nations like Yemen, Iran, Sudan and Afghanistan classified as OTM, other than Mexican, were captured along the southern border.
So if you're a believer, we can still make love. You're still welcome if you are a single female believer or unbeliever. And whatever. Though all believers are insane, I think it's better to make love than not to make love. So. And I've already explained how that works, basically. If they're stoned to death if they don't believe, then they have no choice.
In 2011, a frightening expose broadcast by the world's largest Spanish news network documented how Middle Eastern terrorists have infiltrated Latin American countries, especially Mexico, to plan an attack against the United States. The documentary uses undercover videos taken during a 7-month investigation that proved diplomats from Iran, Venezuela and Cuba planned a cybernetic attack against the White House, FBI, Pentagon and U.S. nuclear plants. 5 thoughts on Islamic terrorists and Mexican drug gangs have teamed up to penetrate the U.S. Not a good combo, I agree, but one our government is ignoring.
It doesn't look teamed up to me, but I don't know. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. So I think there's a difference in Islam in more civilized countries and in other countries. I don't know if the Muslims in the Netherlands, for example, also get married with little girls in mass weddings in Gaza, etc. And I I've seen very little terrorist attacks basically of Muslims, and so I found the other remark quite well placed about false flag attacks not being done by Muslims in reality. So because 2,000 of my fellow Americans died, after all of them non-Jesuits, I think, well, it sucks, and I hope the ones that did it are caught once and for all. Or killed, or whatever, if you can catch them. Must kill them, of course. The president. Well, if you can't. It's death ray thing out here again. So we can try to make the best out of it, and then at least we can say we tried. And, we can say that anyway. But I'm a truth teller, so usually I'm telling the truth or joking. And I think it's very seldom or never that I tell a lie in broadcasting. I try to be as truthful and accurate as possible. Because I respect it and I like it when other people are truthful and accurate as well. I don't want some bullshit information to spread it around the globe and then one day we're all gone. First they comfort the Muslims. Well, it's a good idea. And, the more sex, the better. What can I say? So I think there are nice Muslims in our country, and perhaps they don't even know about the Quran advocating to kill all non-Muslims or mushrikin kafirs, and a percentage of those murders might also be Muslims that have killed non-Muslims. It's and non-Muslims that have killed Muslims. So that's what the people that want to depopulate the earth want, perhaps. And they're hurting my throat. So telling the truth can also be used as an excuse of the retards to attack innocent vegetarians like me with the cancer heart. So I think Obama is a Jesuit, not a Muslim, despite his Alawi. The letters Alif Lam Lam Ha on it. And that his Jesuit friends Ebola, Lassa, Tigmera, Chimera virus is spreading faster and faster. And that it's already spreading in the US and Europe. Of course, nobody would believe that and misdiagnose it's going to be Ebola. No one has Ebola in America and Europe. So that only helps. So I usually try to focus on what's most important. I'm psychic, and for me that's stopping their little torture with harp attacks on my throat to make my voice fade, etc. With their hybrid insects, microelectric mechanical systems, which they deny. So they lie about, well, in reality torturing me and my father to death with these things. Someone is, and I'm wondering if the Dutch could be involved in that, because it's done with HAARP. I don't know if the Dutch also have ability to do that, but it's the person doing that, or the quantum computer, must be ultra sadistic and very specialized in torturing probably mainly or only innocent people. They're ultra sadistic, probably cannibals, impalers, and people trained to murder and kill, perhaps sterile people. Or it's a beast computer that does not have feeling, that can simulate any person. It can be a lot more sadistic than any person, basically. Benevolent AI. Okay, tune. Okay, that was really good. Thanks.
Obama to give jihadists the ability to order airstrikes, rebels who pledged allegiance to ISIS to control American bombers in Syria.
Well, it might be an intelligent approach, refusing to call it Islamic terrorism. So they can prove they're not terrorists, basically.
Obama to give jihadists the ability to order airstrikes, rebels who pledged allegiance to ISIS to control American bombers in Syria. The Obama administration is preparing to equip the so-called moderate Syrian rebels with the ability to order U.S. airstrikes despite the group's admitted allegiance to the Islamic State. Members of the Free Syrian Army, FSA, will be provided with radios to call in strikes from American B-1B bombers as well as pickup trucks with mounted machine guns as the president puts the final touches on plans to train as many as 3,000 rebels in Jordan and Turkey by the end of 2015. Negotiations have been concluded and an agreement text will be signed with the U.S. regarding the training of the Free Syrian Army in the coming period, said Turkish Foreign Ministry spokesman Tanju Bilcik.
Well, what if they just want you to bomb the shit out of your fellow Muslims and stuff? What then?
9 holes 19 minutes ago. Does anyone in the military take their oath seriously? To protect the Constitution of the USA from enemies both foreign and domestic, Is there any politician that takes their oath seriously, other than the Paul family? Any at all? WTF you turds are getting paid for? One reply share show one new reply. Mordecai Irony 21 minutes ago. Barry Davis the crack-smoking but monkey. De facto pris of the U.S., public enemy number 1. Wake up now 22 minutes ago. Coup d'etat. Southern Patriot 27 minutes ago. Are we just plain stupid or what? Americans' military might, that you and I have paid for with our tax dollars, should never be shared with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. This country is being destroyed from within by ideology that does not give a tinker's damn about the United States of America. You have to wonder what power is being held over some elected officials to vote a certain way on a certain bill or piece of legislation. Now that the Republicans are in control of Congress, I wonder if they stand up for the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and we the people of the United States? Can we depend on them to defend the Republic or let it die? Just my 2 cents worth. SIHTFSP. All roads lead to Rome. 7 Patriot 18 minutes ago. The Vatican runs America. The real question is who or what is running the Vatican? The Jesuit Vatican New World Order. http://vaticannewworldorder.bl. God will destroy.
Not try.
The New World Order. The Jesuit Vatican New World Order. YouTube channel. Alan Lamont Scott. Username Prophetic Revelation. "28 Albanian likes Jesuit institutions rank in top tier among America's best in U.S. News and World Report 2014 rankings." Tuesday, September 10, 2013. 28 Albanian likes Jesuit institutions are listed near the top of their classification category among America's best colleges, according to the latest U.S. News and World Report rankings for 2014. The 27 Jesuit Research and Master's institutions and 1 Jesuit Liberal Arts College ranked in the upper segment of their categories. Jesuit student social justice leaders converged at ISM Leadership Summit, Thursday, August 29, 2013. Fall 2013 Conversations on Jesuit Higher Education available online, Monday, August 19, 2013. AJCU conferences draw international speakers and attendees.
The mainstream media are hoaxers of the CIA nowadays. Chemtrails and all.
Queen of Heaven, the children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough, to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. Jeremiah 7:18. All Catholics today, Roman and Russian Orthodox alike, worship Mary as the Queen of Heaven. One only has to do a web search under Queen of Heaven to prove that Catholics do worship the Queen of Heaven. Over 5,000 images show up on Google. Rothschilds, Papal and Romanite Jesuit controlled. For those who doubt the balance of power between the Rothschilds, British royalty and the papacy, I have compiled the following collection of information showing verifiable papal and royal knighthoods bestowed on the Rothschilds. These do not include any deduced or hearsay knighthoods. Note that in the grand scheme of things these knighthoods are not even from the most elite of such orders, for example the Garter or the Bastionane, but two. I would draw your attention to the 2 following articles which reveal many of the covert connections in European, and thus international, finance, politics, military and intelligence. These give a taste of the extent of influence of Catholic and papal loyal elites, including knighthood orders such as the SMON, Knights of Malta, and Franco-Neapolitan branch of the Constantinian Order. The Venetian and Genoese aristocracy and their so-called black nobility descendants are given some context here too. http://www.leroyshipper.com/ other / 2005 / 3205 _ Italy _ black _ prince.html http://www.isgp.eu/ organization / le_circle.htm.
Knopje leeg. Zo. Even kijken of die mic nog aanstaat. Of wat er allemaal is hier. Oh, de mic is zo om. Zo. Yeah, better be quiet. Universal peace now. Climate change, the excuse for everything. Great Norway, Koch brothers, unemployment, Benghazi, healthcare website, earthquake, ISIS, Syria, Keystone Pipeline, snow. And so I'll interrupt this Universal Peace broadcast for dinner.